Hey everybody, this is Heidi Bennett and this is The Vibrant Kitchen on the Vibrant Visionaries Network, my new YouTube channel that has debuted in spring of 2021. This channel came about because I had a podcast and I love the podcast, Vibrant Visionaries, but I really felt like I wanted to share more of what I love to do in the kitchen. So I'm taking a red onion and I'm gonna throw it in a bowl, and what's gonna end up happening is I'm making a kind of Mexican inspired slaw. This is something you can throw as a side dish. You can throw it on tacos, of course, or just on a big pile of carnitas. That's one of the ways I love to eat it. But yeah, I just felt like with the podcast, I love talking with creatives and sharing their stories, but I wanted to share more of my stories. And as long as I can remember, I've loved tacos. I grew up in Southern California, moved up to the Northern California foothills, spent some time in Sacramento. I managed a lot of coffee houses. And somebody asked me the other day, how did I get into just doing a lot of home cooking? And my parents both definitely did a lot. And then when I worked at these coffee houses, they had full cafe menus. And so a lot of times I just pick up things from whoever the chef was at the time, or I would just have to jump behind the counter and make things up on my own, sometimes using recipes, sometimes just using whatever was in the fridge. And so I'm just kind of bringing all of these sensibilities together, and then just the way I like to cook at home. So yeah, I just cut 2 ends off of this big juicy red onion. And then I'm going to use my knife to just cut off that papery outer yuckiness. So whether it's Mexican food, Cuban food, Mediterranean food, there's a lot of use of onion. I'm going to use about half of one today. This guy's a big boy, a large red onion. And lime juice. So I'm going to tame this red onion, cutting it very thin. Some folks like to use the mandolin. I like to use my hands. And for that knife technique, you want to hold it, but not out like this where your fingers can get sliced, okay? So I'm holding it like this. It's nice and steady. Nice and thin. Take your time. I'm getting down to the end here. Rather than try to take this guy and slice again and maybe slice a bit of my finger off, I'm just gonna use this for a different thing. I'm gonna cook with it or something. I'm just gonna put it to the side. And the way that I like to start off this slaw is by taming the red onion with lime juice. These limes are nice and juicy, and they don't have any seeds, so I'm not even going to use any other different kind of tool to squeeze. These are just like juicing up real good for me. I've got some red bells left over from my fridge, prepped from something else, and I'm going to slice these guys kind of thin too. They're not perfect. They're not like perfect little matchsticks. But I wouldn't want to leave these guys to go bad just because they're not in perfect matchstick form, right? So I'm just going to slice them up. On a future video, I'll definitely show you my favorite way to really add flavor to red bell peppers, or yellow ones or orange ones. I do not like green ones at all. In any form. David, the cinematographer, he mentioned that he likes to use those jalapenos that are, well, they call them tamed sometimes, but the ones that are pickled jalapenos, those are great in guacamole or in this something like this too. Okay, so we got About a half of a red bell pepper in here, if you're into that kind of a thing. The lime juice, the red onion, and another little colorful dude is radish. Radishes are something that you find pickled as well, but these are just regular old radishes. Cutting them into little half moons here. Nothing fancy, just kind of thin. Nothing perfect, but still very pretty and colorful. When I entertain, I like to have something like this available because it's great on top of, like, say you have a fried chicken sandwich. Oh, this would be so good on it. If you also have people who just want veg at the party, this is a really friendly veg item. Okay, so I've got 2 radishes in here, and I think that's good. I had a couple of here on the side just in case, but now that I look at the bowl and the mix with the red bell, it's good. I've got half a jalapeno. Gonna add that. Take out the tough little seeds. That's another thing nice with this jalapeno. Now, if you don't want anything really hot and spicy in here, you just leave this out. The jalapeno is pretty mellow. And if you make this a few days ahead of serving it, not only does it soften the cabbage a bit, mellow out the onion even more, but it really mellows out the jalapeno. I'm gonna start with matchsticks and then turn them into a little dice. One of the reasons I love cooking is because you just get to be so creative, and then you get to share that creativity with others. All right, this is looking so colorful. Okay, I had some chopped green onion and cilantro left over from the previous video where I made guac. So I'm gonna throw that in. Obviously, if you don't like cilantro, leave it out. I found this big cabbage and I'm gonna show you how I cut it. So there's this big core right here in the middle. I'm just gonna kind of cut around it. So I do it this way, like a, let's see. Yeah, you can see this one's really great. Sometimes it's really like sometimes these middle leaves are like really huge. There's just a couple of big ones. So I'm gonna cut around, kind of around that core. And every cabbage is different. It's a beautiful snowflake. No two are the same. Yeah. So there's a tough piece. I'm not gonna use that. There's some tender parts in the middle. I'll use that. I love cabbage. It's so affordable. It's great and hearty in stews. Really add a lot of good body to stews. And it's very inexpensive. Now, what am I doing with this right now? I'm just slicing it kinda thin. If you want to whip out the mandolin, go ahead, but I take a more organic approach where I just kind of slice and slice. These are gonna break down. There's a ton of ways of doing this. You know, there's like, you can get slaw where it's really chunky, like little chunky squares. Like, I remember for our honeymoon, my husband Brian and I went all over the United States. We took a month and traveled all over, and in Arkansas, we had really tasty slaw, but it was like cut in these tiny little squares, like confetti size. I've always had it this way, this long if you do end up coming across a section that's just really like sort of big and unwieldy, just save it for a soup or stew. You don't have to use it in this. So I have like some big chunks here. Just gonna save them for the stew. This whole time that we're making this, save it for the stew. The lime juice is doing its work. I'm gonna save this for the stew because this baby is huge. Look at this. Is it gonna even fit in the bowl? I'm not sure. And I also had this little guy, this cute little purple cabbage. So to just add some color and fun, I'm gonna throw this guy in here too. It barely has a little core. Just gonna cut the core out, cut it in half. And yeah, I think, between this guy and half of this little baby, it'll be plenty. Save the rest for the stew. Cabbage is sliced. What next? Before we try to fit it all in this bowl, I'm gonna make a vinaigrette. I'm gonna start with some apple cider vinegar. You can use champagne vinegar, anything that's a mild vinegar, so not red wine. I'm just gonna put about, oh my gosh, 3 or 4 tablespoons. I'll try to get more exact, but this is kind of an eyeball affair. Got some really tasty, beautiful olive oil here. Gonna add that in. And it's actually gonna be about the same amount. No fancy tools, just a little bit of a whisk job. But yeah, it's about half and half. And then we're gonna adjust later on. Gonna throw in a little salt. If you want, you can add some cracked fresh black pepper to it if you like. Okay, so I'm gonna pour some of this into our veg at the bottom here. Give that a little tossy toss. Now remember, we've got the lime juice in here too. Oh my gosh, it's looking beautiful. Like literally, this is a salsa right here, right? Like this would be a great fresh salsa on its own. Now, bloop. Add some of this cabbage. Cabbage is another thing where I feel like there's all these maybe barriers to entry. Like, oh, you need to salt it first and let it wilt. And get really well seasoned by just letting it be in the fridge for a couple days. I mean, is this gonna be edible today? Yeah, but it's gonna be so much better tomorrow. Same with most soups and stews, a lot of things. Just let the flavors meld. Mix, marry, become friends. Okay, this is going beautifully. So I'm gonna just mix this up a little bit more. It's so colorful, so beautiful. I'm gonna taste a little bit here. Then this baby's done. I mean, what we're gonna do is stick it in the fridge, and it's really gonna be something where tomorrow you taste it again and adjust. All right, so this baby is made. I'm gonna put a lid on it, throw it in the fridge, let it meld, and we'll give you some serving suggestions coming right up. Okay, so this slaw, as mentioned, it's gonna get better the next day and the day after that. Fantastic on a pulled pork sandwich. Really good next to a burger. It's just, yeah, a great thing to bring to a potluck. And one of the things I really like about it is it's easy to see what's in it. I mean, sure, you can make a little recipe card, let people know what's in there if they have sensitivity to certain ingredients, but you can really tell what is in here just by looking at it. And yeah, it's just a great salad on its own if you're just in the middle of the day feeling a little peckish. I love it on tacos. I love it with carnitas. So yeah, I am a pork lover and it's great with all sorts of pork dishes, but yeah, it's a friendly for vegetarians and vegans item as well. So again, my name is Heidi Bennett. This has been The Vibrant Kitchen on the Vibrant Visionaries Network. Thanks for watching and enjoy.